That was the craziest fantasy football draft that I've ever been a part of. I expected some insanity, but that thing was off the rails. Um, really, from start to finish, I really couldn't have predicted half of what occurred. So that was really fun. And I was not being sarcastic when I sent in the chat at the end that I thought that was a very high level and quality draft from a very good league. Um, taking the quarterbacks early, I think that's a great thing. It shows that we've kind of adapted to the times. Waiting on a quarterback has not been beneficial the last couple of years, especially in this league. For whatever reason, you seem to need elite quarterback play to be able to contend in this league. And so I give people credit for going after the guys they wanted. That includes Lohan and Dillon, who took quarterbacks earlier than we've really ever seen them taken in this league. Well, earlier than we've seen them taken in a very long time. There was a time when we were children that we used to take quarterbacks in the first round. Dillon infamously took Michael Vick first overall once. We used to do stuff like that. But it's been a long time since a quarterback went in the first couple of rounds. And two of them went in the first 20 picks. Or 20, yeah, two of them went in the first 20 picks. Also, Tyreek Hill going second overall. I got to say, I love it. I was really high on Tyreek Hill this year. Certainly didn't think he was going to go second. And Nordiff kind of shocks the world right out of the gate with that one. Andrew taking Bijan Robinson. That's a guy who I don't think anybody really expected Andrew to take because he's usually pretty risk averse. And you're going to take a rookie, obviously supremely talented, but a rookie nonetheless. And there is a ton of risk involved with that. And Travis Kelce, right? This seemed like maybe it was going to be the year where he goes top 5. No, he fell to Peter at 7. And Peter, that great union of Peter with Travis Kelce led to a league title in 2020. They're back together. And I think that was awesome. Love his start, but I have so many thoughts right now, but I do want to keep this organized. And first, I just kind of want to go round by round. First round, I think everybody made a pretty good pick. I don't see a bad pick in the first round. So the big shock, certainly, like I already said, Hill and Bijan Robinson. Best pick of the first round, I guess I go with Kelce at 7. And that feels like really good value. Worst pick? Again, I don't know that there is one. Bijan Robinson is risky, but I don't think it's a bad pick. So I think I like what everybody did there. Second round, I gotta say, I was surprised to see Klingman go with Garrett Wilson. That was a guy that I thought I would end up with at 16. Love the pick there. One of the risks of the draft goes at 14 overall to Horvath Cooper Kupp. This could be a season destroying pick. It could be a league winning pick. Getting Cooper Kupp, who over his last 25 healthy games has been the best player in fantasy football, bar none. Getting him at 14 overall, if he's healthy, is going to be incredible. I like the risk. I personally wouldn't have taken it. I had told myself if Kupp fell to 16, I was going to pass. But I don't blame Horvath at all. You might have just gotten the number 1 overall receiver at 14 overall. After that, yeah, Lohan taking Jalen Hurts. Pretty crazy, right? Quarterback going, what is that? What 17th overall? We've never seen anything like that in the 12-team era. So, Lohan wanted one of those big 3 quarterbacks. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to get one in the 3rd round, so you go out and get your guy. And to me, that's kind of the theme of this draft was almost every single one of us kind of throwing the ESPN rankings out the door. And I love that because, fuck the rankings. They're often garbage. So why should we draft by those rankings? Take your guys that you believe in when you know you can get them. And we see Lohan doing that with Jalen Hurts. Do I think it's the greatest pick in the world? No, because it is tough to build a great team with a second round quarterback, but you have a guy who's got 30 to 35 point upside any week, and that's a big deal. Tony Pollard falling to Peter in the middle of the second round was fantastic. And before I get into that, just want to recap one of the things I said earlier in the preview of this. We have been such a running back heavy league over the last few years. Just in 2020, 14 of the first 17 picks were running backs. 14 of the first 17. This year, let's see here. It was 6 of the first 17 were running backs. 6 of the first 17 and only 7 of the first 20. It has changed. The landscape has changed completely. Such a wide receiver heavy draft, and of course the quarterbacks and tight ends going in. But one of those running backs who did go in the first couple of rounds, as I already mentioned, Tony Pollard. I think Peter getting off to that Kelsey Pollard start is pretty awesome. 2 guys who kind of fell into his lap. 2 guys he didn't expect to get. And it set a nice foundation for his team. I already talked about Dillon getting Mahomes 20th overall. I really do like that. I think that's about where he should go. I don't think it's a reach. I would have had a tough time personally taking him over guys like Josh Jacobs, Joe Mixon, Waddle, Olave. Those are guys I'll probably would have taken over Mahomes, but I still really like the pick. Worst pick of the second round to me. Again, it's hard to really pick on any of these. I'm a little low on Travis Etienne. Moderately worried about what happened to him at the tail end of last season. Really from week 10 onward, he just wasn't good. And I don't even remember why, to be quite honest with you, but he wasn't. He just didn't produce. I think there was an injury mixed in there. But now they went out, they drafted Tank Bigsby, spent a 3rd or 4th round pick on him. He's going to be involved. He kind of profiles as a goal line guy. So you have Etienne, who didn't catch a ton of passes last year. Now you bring in maybe a goal line guy. That starts to make me really worry about Etienne's value. He could be the best between the 20s guy in the league, but if he's not catching balls or getting into the end zone, he's not going to be good for fantasy football purposes. But I could be completely wrong. What do I know? I'm just making educated guesses like everybody else. Favorite pick of the second round is probably Pollard. Pollard going at, what would that be? 18 overall. That's pretty damn good. We'll move on to the 3rd round. Sam, he takes Josh Allen, top of the 3rd round. That's good. You get one of those big 3, there is a ton of value in that. And we'll see if that next tier of guys, one of whom got taken with the very next pick, we'll see if those guys step up their game a bit. But for the time being, what we know from last year is that those top 3, Hurts, Allen, Mahomes, they're on a level of their own. And to get the last one, first pick of the 3rd round, I thought was good stuff. And then, I'm picking on Nordiff a little bit here, critiquing the Etienne pick. Lamar Jackson to me is a big reach and kind of a mistake. But as I already said, you know that if you're Nordiff, that he's obviously not making it back to your pick at the end of the 4th round. So If you felt, I really want to get Lamar Jackson, well, then you needed to pick him here. To me, it's a reach. I certainly would have taken Chris Olave before Lamar Jackson. And speaking of Olave, I think that's a fantastic pick by Krieger a few spots into the third round. So, favorite pick, third round. I actually really like what I ended up with. DK Metcalf falling to me at whatever that would be, like 33 overall or something. I'm going to go with Allen. I think Josh Allen, best pick of the round, just because of the upside that he represents. And worst pick is Lamar Jackson to me. Felt like Calvin Ridley was a reach. Taking him over Metcalf feels a little bit crazy. Taking him over Deebo Samuel as well, that's something I wouldn't have done. But Calvin Ridley, last time we saw him, which is like 2 years ago at this point, he was great. So maybe he'll be that guy again. I'm only going to do one more round here because this kind of gets monotonous, and then maybe I'll just pick out interesting picks throughout the rest of this. Like I said, I didn't organize any thoughts, so I'm just kind of looking at stuff. Fourth round, a couple more quarterbacks go. Justin Herbert to me, Justin Fields to Peter. I felt coming into this year that there was like a top 7 of quarterbacks that you wanted, and it ended with Fields. So I'm good with getting them in the fourth round with the way that guys flew off the board. I thought that those were good picks by Peter and me. And then some of the rest of it, the fourth round was weird, and I felt it was going to be weird just looking at the rankings. It's like a bunch of bounce back candidates, and I don't know, guys who are in semi iffy situations. I think Amari Cooper to Andrew was nice. Cooper was quietly a low end wide receiver, 1 high end 2 last year. Andrew gets him at 43 overall. I don't really see any bad picks here. Deontay Johnson may be a bit of a reach, but if Deontay Johnson just scores like 5 or 6 touchdowns this year, he should return on this draft value. Last year it was crazy. He couldn't get into the end zone. He didn't score once. Kenny Pickett, good preseason. Maybe he takes a step forward, and that would, of course, benefit Deontay Johnson. So I lost my train of thought, but yeah, Deontay Johnson is who I was talking about. I've been up since 6 in the morning. I don't know. But through 4 rounds, there aren't many picks that I look at and think like, "Oh my god, what a terrible pick." The closest thing to it is probably Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow in the third round. I wouldn't have done it, but you take your guy. So maybe I'll be proven wrong on those 2 picks. To me, I don't see much of a difference between Jackson and Burrow to Herbert and Fields. I gladly would have waited an additional round to get Herbert or Fields as opposed to those 2 guys and get the higher quality running back or receiver. Rest of the draft here, Javonte Williams to Sam in the 5th was a little bit interesting. By all reports, Williams looks healthy. Is he? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what kind of workload he gets early on in the season. That could be an awesome pick because if Javonte is fully back from that, getting him in the 5th round is going to be a big deal. Same thing with Breece Hall. Peter gets him in the 5th round. That's a guy who has top 5 to 10 running back in the NFL potential, just from a skill perspective. He really showed that he's going to be that good, but is he going to be healthy this year? And with Dalvin Cook signing, what kind of workload is he going to get? I don't know. It's a risky pick, but it might pay off. I'm just going. I really like Darren Waller to Andrew in the sixth. I thought that was good. Jahan Dotson, Krieger took him in the seventh. Awesome. Really big fan of that. Hated the DeAndre Swift pick in the seventh round by Horvath. I don't know. That's going to be probably an annoying committee, and I don't know that he's ever really going to be startable. Feels like he's going to be someone who 1 week scores 20 points, 1 week 5, 8, 12, 27. You're not going to know. He's not going to be a fun guy to own, I don't think. Any other weird picks? Jordan Addison, big fan of that from Horvath in the eighth, so he came back with a pick I liked. I was thrilled to get Pat Freiermuth in the eighth. He was the last tight end that I really was happy with this year. Getting him was a big deal to me. He's another guy like Deontay Johnson. He was solid last year. He only scores 2 touchdowns. If he could get into the end zone a few more times, you got to think that it's going to go pretty damn well for him. He could end up being a top 5 fantasy tight end. Jackson Smith-Njigba to Peter. Big fan of that, eighth round. Why not take a shot on a guy who is as talented as anyone? Of course, he needs to get healthy, but it seems like he's going to. Ninth round, some good flyers. Zay Flowers to Lohan. It's a guy I was certainly targeting. I end up with Raheem Mostert. I think he'll be good until he inevitably gets injured. He kind of has that Miami backfield to himself right now. Hopefully they don't sign Kareem Hunt. There was a tight end run this round, people just kind of finishing off their starting lineups. After that, I don't know. The rest of the draft, it is what it is. You take flyers on whoever you like. Nordiff taking Kareem Hunt in the 11th round is kind of hilarious, but he might be the one laughing if Hunt signs with a team like Miami or New Orleans or the Colts, a team that needs a starting running back out of the gate. Oh, I forgot. Speaking of the Colts, Jonathan Taylor was drafted by Larar in the 8th round. I'm on record. You'll hear me here. I don't think Jonathan Taylor plays a single snap this season. I've been saying that for a few weeks. I think this is a Le'Veon Bell situation. I don't think he'll play. But in the 8th round, yeah, that's worth the shot because if he does, we know that he is a running back 1. And you got him in the 8th round. Who are you going to take over him? Look at the guys who went in that range. Odell Beckham, Jamal Williams. Like, these guys have little to no upside season long. Jonathan Taylor, if the Colts and him somehow stop being immature, like that could be a league winning pick. And kudos to Larar for doing that. I was never going to take him, but that's my own bitterness. Yeah, I don't know. There's not much else that's notable. It's funny. I look at Nordiff and it was just so classic. Some of what he did, like Kareem Hunt, Leonard Fournette, Kyler Murray. He just loves taking chances on these discounted guys every year, and I don't know that it's ever really worked out. Maybe Antonio Brown that one year with Tampa, but was that the year that he quit on the team? I don't know. I don't have the memory I used to. Something happened to me. Um, yeah, no, it. I like that Nordiff stayed on brand. I really do. So we're gonna get some guests on here. Actually, we are going to we're gonna get hopefully Krieger, Mecca, and Lohan. That's the goal. I would like to get Krieger first, so bear with me as I try to figure out how to do this because I'm not technologically savvy. I'm a pathetic human being. I'm gonna contact Krieger right now. This is just great dead air. It's exactly what you want when you're listening to something that's going to end up being like an hour and a half long. Take a break. Do whatever you want while I try to set this up. But yeah, we're gonna talk different teams. We'll get Krieger in here hopefully and get his thoughts on what occurred. It's good to get different perspectives. I'm sure people get sick of listening to me say the same things over and over again. I know I get sick of having the same thoughts. You know how painful it is walking around with my brain? It's a nightmare. I guess we'll start looking at Krieger's team as we hope for him to join. Yeah, I sent it in the chat. I don't like this team. Um, I really don't. I've been saying for a couple of years now that you need strong quarterback and tight end play to win this league, and Krieger has Dak Prescott and Tyler Higbee. That's terrible. That is a horrible combination at those two spots. The good news for him is that McCaffrey and Jacobs, those could be two top 5 running backs. Chris Olave could be a top 5 receiver, and then you have some of those other kind of upside picks with Jahan Dotson. I really like Cam Akers this year because he doesn't really have any competition in LA. Deontay Johnson, I don't even know if I said that already. Isaiah Pacheco, I actually really like his receiver and running back depth. But of course, the reason that he was able to build that is because he waited on quarterback and tight end. And I just don't know if it's possible to win in this league, um, being weak at both of those spots. It's been a very long time. I don't know if it's ever happened. And Krieger, of course, will probably try to make trades. He's one of the most active people in trade discussions, but it's not easy to trade for a quarterback or a tight end because if you have a good one, you don't want to let go of them. And so we'll see. I don't know what this guy's doing. I don't know if I messed something up. I mean, I feel like I did what I needed to invite him. And he's got me here having to like keep going on and on and on about nothing at all. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting team because we've seen in the past where 2 or 3 players can carry a roster. He's going to need that to happen probably, at least initially. He's going to need big production out of his running backs and wide receivers. Krieger is currently installing the app. So this, just so we know, this is entirely his fault. He created this mess. Well, I bet people enjoy how what a disaster this has been so far. Let's take a look at some other teams. Let's take a look at Sam's team. Sam went, of course, with an interesting strategy, similar to my roster that we'll get to know soon. But Sam started 2 receivers and a quarterback, and I thought it turned out really nice. Jefferson and Waddle and Josh Allen. That's great. Really nice. That's what the first overall pick affords you. I had a league, I had the second overall pick, and I had a similar start. I went Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, and Mahomes. When you had an early pick this year, you were able to do this. And Sam took advantage of it and still, to me, had a nice roster that he was able to round out with George Kittle. You know, you want to talk about potential for massive upside at quarterback and tight end. This team has it, right? Allen and Kittle. Those are guys who could do crazy, crazy stuff. And here we go. We've got Jake Krieger, who has joined us. if he would join with the audio. There we go. Unmute yourself. All right. Krieger is here.
What's up?
Okay, so you're the first person to join.
It's an honor. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I like that neither of us have our video on. No one needs to see us.
Yeah.
They know
I
what we.
want them to see my face.
You want them to?
I want them to know I'm
Oh
here.
my god.
I'm setting the tone.
Okay, that's great for you. So I just spent like minutes rambling on about. Basically, I was trashing both you and your team.
It's a horrible team. I hate it. Everyone's on the market, to be completely honest. But I think there are worse teams than me, to believe it. Believe it or
So
not.
here's my takeaway. Like, McCaffrey Jacobs could be incredible. Um, those are they could combine for 50 points a week.
They could.
Olave, Love, Dotson, big fan of Dotson.
Dotson, I personally believe, is sleeper of the year.
Yeah, no, I was really hyping up that pick so far on this. Cam Akers, I'm with you. I like Cam. I think he's going to get a ton of volume. Deontay Johnson, I think solid pick. Pacheco. It's just the big problem here is you got trash at quarterback and tight end, and it's very hard to win with that.
I think Tyler Higbee might be a sleeper.
Oh,
Sleeper,
maybe
sneaky tight end, because the Rams have nobody.
yeah, maybe if Cooper Kupp misses the entire season, which
Could
is
be.
possible.
You never know.
Horvath might have destroyed his team already with that pick. So let's get besides your team, let's get some other takeaways from you.
For the overall league,
Yeah, yeah, just what stuck out to you?
I think Mecca has the best team overall.
Okay.
I think he's in the best shoes, and at the moment, I would say he's the front runner to win.
Yeah.
But the shame, I would say, Laurent and Peter. I am
Well,
not a fan of either of their teams, especially Peters. No shot at him, but Samaje Perine at
this is like a
RB2.
personal attack.
Yeah, Samaje Perine at running back 2. I'm not a fan.
Well, that's fair, but you got to think by October, Brees Hall will slot in there. And of course, this is and I did it last year. This is a risk when you take early quarterback and tight end. You're going to sacrifice the running back and receiver positions, and that's what happened to him. I mean, his receivers are quite weak. Higgins, McLaurin, Michael Pittman. There's very little upside there.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
his starting Pollard Kelsey is very nice, I think. I like Fields. The key to Peter's team is probably going to be Brees Hall. Do you think
That would be the breaking point.
do you think he'll be kind of
What he was supposed to be?
you think he can be that at any point this season?
No, not with Dalvin Cook there.
And
Personally,
that's fair. And if he
so
isn't, then he needs to find another running back.
yeah, I would say that's the move.
Let's
But
take a look. I actually don't even know what Larar's team looks like.
he has currently 2 guys that will be out most likely the first 3 weeks in his starting lineup.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, the Judy pick, I do remember this now. I did feel that was one of the worst picks of the draft.
And then also, if you look at his bench, he has Jonathan Taylor. I don't know what's going to go on with that,
Yeah.
but that's a gamble. And then, so just looking at his potential week 1 starting lineup, it will be Deshaun Watson, Mixon, Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, stud. I wanted him. Couldn't get him. Boom. I digress. And then what? Jacoby Myers?
Yeah.
It's and then Kyle Pitts, and then
Quarter.
potentially Darnell Mooney at the flex.
Yeah, no,
So
you're right. It's certainly going to be a tough. It's going to be a tough start to the season. As for Taylor, um, I already said on this here, and I've said it to people. I don't think he plays this year.
I don't believe so either. I think
With
he's
that
out
being
for the
said,
year.
he took him late eighth round. I think that was fine because if he does play, that was a fucking amazing pick.
Yeah.
So you take the chance. But yeah, no, I'm actually. I mean, this is a terrible bench, and it's a bench that like you said, he's going to need to count on early. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough against Lohan in week one.
I think Lohan has a week one dub locked up,
Okay.
personally.
Yeah. Well, I agree. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be a competitive matchup. Do you have any other takeaways?
Let
What
me take a
about
peek.
the draft at large?
Draft at large. I think a lot of shit went out the window when Lohan took Jalen Hurts in the second round.
Yeah.
I was expecting Mahomes to go there,
Agreed.
but to have Hurts go at what? Pick
18 or
pick
17.
18, pick 17. That's I think, and then people started to panic. I think Norduft reached on Lamar Jackson
Yeah,
in
I
the
already
third round.
said that. Yep.
So I think that is what put everything out the window, and people just started taking whoever they wanted.
Yes. That I mean that basically I said that too earlier before you were on that the theme of this draft was throw the rankings out the window and take your guys.
So I think Lohan really stir everything up, and I think his team is in good shape if Christian Watson is like the wide receiver one he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But
Where does he have him? Is that his
he
wide receiver two?
wide receiver two. Uh, where's his
Yeah.
team?
Um and I know you were telling me that you're very high on Ridley before the draft.
Believe it or not, we actually had a trade offer on the table before he took Ridley.
Yeah,
That
we had some trade discussions. There was potential for things to go down between us, but the guys that we wanted to trade kept getting taken.
I know it's a shame, but Ridley, I think he can return to his Alpha One ways,
Hmm.
but he definitely is a gamble, and that's why he got suspended.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is why he got suspended. Too much gambling. Um, I do think it was crazy to take him over Metcalf. Uh,
I agree. Who ended up getting Metcalf? You?
yeah,
A steal.
yeah, I took I one of the most insane drafts I've ever done in anything here tonight, starting with three receivers.
You easily have the best receiving core
Yeah, a
in the
year
league.
after having the worst.
So, but now I am skeptical personally on your running backs.
Well, and of course, and that's gonna you don't take a running back until the fifth round, they're gonna be weak. I like the options that I gave myself. Uh, Sanders, Dobbins, they should get 15 to 20 touches a week. Raheem Mostert is going to be the guy there until he
I
gets injured.
I I love the Raheem Mostert pick. Devin a chain. I know you sent
Having
the chat.
Devon Achan.
Devon A chain. My bad. My bad. If he sees this, my bad. He definitely, I think he could take over the backfield, or if somehow Jonathan Taylor ends up there in Miami, which I've heard,
Or Kareem Hunt.
or Kareem Hunt. But I see him going to the Colts potentially.
Well, they offered him. He didn't want to go there, which I don't blame him.
Uh,
But A-Chain, the one thing with him that makes me skeptical that he's going to ever be like a full workload kind of guy. He's 5'9", 190, and he's already been nicked up a bunch in training camp. Now, I'm actually looking at this Zoom thing right now, and it says 40 minutes. And I seem to remember something that when you're on the free version of this, you only get an hour.
I believe so.
So I got about 20 minutes left to spare, and I want to get other people on. So we're going to wrap it up with you momentarily. But yeah, A-Chain, he looks very explosive. He was good at Texas A&M, but he's a little guy. And I don't know. I actually wanted to take A-Chain, and Mecca took him a pick in front of me. But yeah, no, we'll see. Some fun teams because there are a bunch of kind of weird teams out there. Mine is weird. Sam's is pretty weird because he didn't take a running back until the 4th round. We'll see how that works out. These are strategies that have never really been used in our league.
That is true, but and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting 100% this year. So,
well,
we'll see how the cookie crumbles. So,
I'm glad that you were able to join.
I'm happy to be on. I hope the next person that comes on has their camera on as well.
Yeah, and I think the great thing is that my camera will never be on.
I love that.
And so for all you, I could be sitting here completely nude
Very true.
and nobody would know.
Nobody would know.
I could do whatever I want. I could have like a swastika in the background right now.
There's nothing wrong with that. But,
Yeah. I could do whatever I want and nobody would be the wiser. It's crazy, isn't it?
Very insane. We don't even know what you look like.
Nobody knows what I look like anymore. I might have undergone plastic surgery.
But I hope to be back on the pod
Yeah.
later in the season, maybe after week 1. Who knows if you'll allow it.
Yeah, you'll be back on at some point. It depends on how I'm feeling.
Sounds good. And,
What do I do? Do you leave or do I
I
kick?
leave, and I'll be gone with the wind.
Okay,
Have a
well,
good
thank you
night.
for coming on and have a great rest of your life.
Adios.
Okay, goodbye. We've now got Matt Mecca joining us. As soon as he's able to connect, yes, here he is.
Hello.
You are the second person to join. Jake Krieger was just on, and
That's awesome.
he actually said that it's very fitting that we have you on next because he believes that you have the best team.
Wow. High
Yes.
praise.
Oh,
High praise from a winning record team.
yes. Yes.
Another year though, another successful draft.
Oh yeah.
Pretty amazing that this league is still thriving in the way that it is.
Yeah, it is because you got people all over the place. You being one of them, right? So,
Right.
but the competitiveness of this league doesn't die. And
Which is amazing. I think definitely testament to you for keeping it alive. There was a time when you were out of the league,
Mhm.
not even playing. So for you to come back as commissioner and keep things going has been really cool. I want to talk about some of the rule changes
Mhm.
that were voted on this year.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Obviously, we've got the two matchups coming in this year. I think that's an exciting change.
Big change.
I was curious, how is that going to factor into historical records? So if I go 2-0 week one,
Mhm.
does that add 2 wins to my historical win total?
I would imagine it does, like in the history tab. Yeah, I don't think it'll be 1-0. I think it'll be 2.
I'm excited for that change. Do you think we'll ever get rid of the kicker position?
I've been telling people for a while, no, there's like this it's like the Supreme Court at this point where we have like blocks of the court, some that want changes, some that are vehemently against every change, and then there are the swing votes. And I don't know that too many of the swing votes like the kicker position. We need the right people. We need like a championship matchup decided by the kicker position.
Can we
That's
get some feedback from the league members who want to keep the kicker position? Why do we want it?
well, the thing I've been told is basically it's part of it. It's part of the sport, which I don't really know what that means because there are other things that used to be part of it, like standard. Remember standard scoring? That was
Mhm.
part of it, and now everybody has agreed that uh, that was a bad thing, and we've gotten rid of it. So I don't know.
I'm interested too in the half PPR. I think that's a potential exciting change for the future.
Yeah, I think that could happen for sure.
I'm
I
trying to think what else was on the ballot this year.
I don't know. Oh, relegation.
Relegation, I think, is a really interesting idea as well.
Yeah, I wanted that to pass actually more than just about anything. That and getting rid of the horrible kicker position.
No, yeah, the 20-sided die.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, roll a die and see what happens, and maybe your guy will kick 5 field goals this week.
Oh boy.
Cameron
So what
Dicker
do
wanted him. No joke. I wanted Cameron Dicker
that's so funny. Well, he's kicking in a high-powered offense, right? That and all the rest of the guys that I saw on the board.
in a good offense in a dome.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So I actually made this comment to Krieger. When I hover over Zoom meeting, it says Zoom meeting dash 40 minutes. And I what I thought that meant before was I had 40 minutes remaining. And
Hmm.
I've come to realize that that in fact means that I have 40 minutes total.
Oh boy. Okay.
So
How many minutes are you in?
I probably close to 40 minutes.
Okay.
So this may cut off. This may cut off soon, but we will. What are some of your main takeaways from the draft? Were there any picks or teams that stuck out to you?
Big takeaways for me. I hated my position. We talked about that a little bit just before we were drafting. Did not like where I was, especially in the first. I don't like my pick out of the first round
Yeah,
because of just I felt like there was a teardrop after the eighth pick. I would have been happy with Diggs, but and then to see Burrow and Jackson go in the first
25 or well, about 30.
30, Joe Burrow's 30th pick, that was shocking for me. And that was kind of a redemption because that allowed me to get Mark Andrews there at the end of the third. And I was really excited about that pick. Um, Other things that stuck out besides the quarterback run, there's a couple picks I really like. I really like Chris Olave
Agreed.
in the early third. I think he's going to have a really good year.
Yeah.
And I'm just scrolling through the draft recap. I am shocked that Keenan Allen went in the fifth. I thought
Same.
that was really surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I would have loved to have him early fourth, but I had already taken 3 receivers.
Yeah, right. And then you went two running backs, right? Who did you end up with at running back?
Sanders and Dobbins.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great. when you do what I did, you're not going to have great running backs. The ideal scenario would have been James Conner falling, but he ends up getting taken early fourth by Lohan. I think, it's obvious a bunch of people wanted Conner. Sanders I'm good with because there's really no one else in that backfield as of now. Dobbins is good when healthy, but never really healthy. I'm happy with Montgomery. He's kind of safe. He'll be a safe, like, low end running back too. And then
Yeah.
you and I have the current Miami backfield between Mostert and A-Chain. And I think Mostert will be good early in the year. And then the hope would be that I find somebody by the back half.
One of those later picks that you
Well, yeah, Zach Charbonnet could work out.
Yeah, I like that the depth you took in the back end. Hopefully one of those for you will hit. You're kind of just rolling the dice that late in the draft.
That'd be massive if one of those guys, if the starter in front of them got injured, it'd be
right.
a huge
But
deal.
Mostert's so interesting. The Dolphins all off season were in the sweepstakes for name that running back.
Yeah, Cook, Hunt, Taylor.
They get none of them, and then Jeff Wilson gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels like Mostert's ADP never corrected the way it should have. Like, to me, he should have gone in the 70s or 80s.
Right. I mean, he's leading the backfield in a really good offense.
Exactly.
Fit the bill.
He is 31. Like, there's almost no chance he makes it through the season. But
would you have taken Flowers there if Lohan didn't right before you?
I did. It was between them. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been a tough decision if both of them were available.
Right.
Yeah, I did want one of those rookie receivers, him, Smith and Jigba, Addison. I feel like there's another one I'm forgetting. I wanted one of those guys.
You got to feel like at least two of those three that you just named are going to be top 24 guys by the end of the year, especially in the back half of the season.
Yeah, Addison, he's pretty much the number 2 in Minnesota already.
Right.
I don't think KJ Osborne, but Smith and Jigba, he could usurp Lockett. I really like all those rookies. Zay Flowers could end up being the number 1 in Baltimore. I'm okay taking the shot on Rashad Bateman like I did.
I wanted Bateman.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when you listen to the Baltimore press, they talk a lot about Rashad Bateman. They clearly haven't forgotten him.
Yeah. He just needs to get healthy.
Right.
And he is right now. But yeah, no, I think, Krieger and I talked about it. This was a wild draft. We've never seen really anything like this.
What stuck out to you? What were your biggest surprises?
The quarterback thing was, I knew they were going to go a little early, but I've never seen anything like that.
Right.
5 in the first 30 picks is unbelievable. Jalen Hurts being taken over Mahomes was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Tyreek Hill, number 2 overall. I don't mind the pick, but it was stunning.
Surprising for sure.
And I just thought what I really liked was that people were not they weren't a prisoner of the rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So many guys went like 30 spots in front of where ESPN had them. Good.
Yeah.
Screw ESPN and their rankings.
The ESPN ADP always does feel completely different than other platforms, than the general consensus.
Oh, 100%. J.K. Dobbins, and I don't even like him that much. I know I ended up with him. I'm not like super high on him. I did a Yahoo draft earlier this week. He was in the 40s, and on ESPN he was 77. Like, that's wild to be that.
That's so different.
That's 4 rounds.
You got to wonder what plays into those micro different, like those
No.
real niche player. Like, why is he in particular
Yes.
so much lower ranked in ESPN? Is it just the people who are playing on this app
I,
have these opinions about certain players?
it could really, when you only have 4 or 5 people making the rankings, it could really simply be a matter of like 1 or 2 people hate him, or on
Right,
Yahoo, 1 or 2 people love him.
right.
Um, and then that changes everything. That changes things by 10 to 15 spots. The one
Is
thing
that how it works? Is it generated by like the consensus of their experts? Is that how they come up with the list here?
I would think, I don't know for sure.
Be interested to.
The one thing that I thought was a joke on ESPN was how they stuffed like 20 quarterbacks and tight ends
I
right now
hate
from like
it
90
sucks.
to 110.
It sucks because it forces the issue for backup quarterbacks. I took Anthony Richardson. I did the same thing um, in other leagues,
Mhm.
going Anthony Richardson, Geno Smith. They have a good combined schedule. Geno Smith has a really good early season schedule,
Yeah.
which sets up that buffer period for hopefully Anthony Richardson hits
Yeah.
later in the season. But I was so worried because I'm looking at who's coming up and I see what you were just talking about, this huge group of
Mhm.
backup quarterbacks coming up. And I said to myself, I have to take Geno now if I want to guarantee that I
Yeah.
get him. Yeah, that is a little frustrating that they just group that in that way.
It's insane. And there's no way, like, it makes no sense to do it like that.
No,
You can't
no, it doesn't.
there were also, I want to say, like Pitts, Kittle, and Goddard were like 70 through 72.
Yep.
So you're just inviting what happened, and it's exactly what happened in this draft, where, let's see here, Kittle, Goddard, and Pitts went in a 4 pick span. Like,
Yeah,
that's because of the ESPN rankings.
right. They're just it's almost intentional when you look at it in that way. And I don't know if it is.
Yeah,
Again, I don't know how they're coming up with the ADP setup, but they need to do something different
they
in the
do.
way they present the app.
They do.
Do you draft on your phone or do you draft on the laptop?
I did on the computer.
Yeah, that's what I
I think it's there's so much more, like, on the app it's really bare bones.
right. You just see, right.
And as much as I've hated on ESPN for so long, there really isn't anybody who does it clearly better. The
Right.
people love the Sleeper app. I did a league on there a few years back. I didn't think it was like amazing. The layout's a little bit weird. Yahoo, I actually kind of hate. I think their app is odd. So yeah, ESPN's frustrating, but they're still probably the best, which is
Especially, yeah, like user experience, the access we get to league history. It'd be really tough to switch to a different platform.
yeah, yeah. I don't even think it's an option. It's kind of like being an iPhone owner. Like, once you
Ex-
go down that road, once you decided like I'm going to own an Apple product, you're basically stuck.
You're locked in.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right. Well, it was good to see you. Good to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully you get something from this that you can add to the draft recap. I'm interested to hear the rest of your takes.
Yeah, yeah. No,
And,
this is going to be in unedited.
oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm not editing this. I'm just throwing this in.
Okay.
The early portion of this is a slop fest of me just rambling on.
Well, I'm looking forward to the rest of it anyways. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Take
Thanks
care.
for all you do as commish.
No problem. I love doing it. See
We'll
ya.
see ya.
All right. So I am in fact running out of time on this. I've got 10 minutes left. However, I can buy what is this? 12.49 a month. Do I buy that right now? I think I do. But first we're gonna get Lohan in here. So we've had Krieger on, we've had Mecca on, and now we have Lohan joining. And I believe you have to unmute yourself. Yes. Lohan is here. I like that. I like what you made your name. I also like that you're not using the video. I didn't use that video.
Oh yeah, we're just having a combo here.
I told Krieger earlier, no one needs to see me. That's not why people are here. They don't want to see me. So you're not going to. But it seems like you really want to take your time here to go after a specific person, correct?
Yes, correct. I
Well,
think I think Dylan would also agree.
mhm.
Yeah.
Well, hey, the floor is yours. You're on, and say what you got to say about Horvath.
Nothing. Just all good banter. But boys, what a draft. I think it was a great draft. Everyone did well. Yeah.
No,
Good
no,
luck.
it's great times. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
good luck for everyone.
this was so fun because so many crazy things happened, and one of the big wild moments was what you did in the second round. And I know you texted me earlier this week or last week, depending. Some people consider Sunday the start of a week. I don't personally. I consider it the
I
end of the
I
week.
personally say Monday is the start of the week.
Okay, yeah, we are in agreement. And I think those who consider Sunday the start of the week, that makes no sense to me because it's part of the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Sunday is like the last day of the week where you wind down,
Yep.
maybe get some stuff in order before the week starts, you know?
The Sunday first day of the week, people, something needs to be done about them. But
Yeah.
earlier this week, you texted me that you were gonna do this, and still I didn't quite believe it. I thought, that's an easy thing to say, and then in the heat of the moment, it's gonna be like, damn, how do I take a quarterback over uh for Josh Jacobs, or how do I take a quarterback over? I don't even know who else was available there, but well,
Uh,
I thought
yeah,
A. Brown was going to be available, but I took him.
yeah, reflecting on it now, it was a very hard decision. I
Mhm.
definitely could have picked Amari St. Brown,
Sure.
and I would have had a stronger wide receivers on my team. But hey, man, you make decisions, you got to live by it, and no regrets, man.
No, and hindsight is so easy to be able to look back and say like, well, if I did this, you don't know how the future rounds are going to work out. You didn't know
Yeah,
there was going to be a receiver run. It's just very difficult. The one thing I did, I thought I liked the Hurts pick. I would have personally taken Mahomes, but I taking one of those quarterbacks there, I thought I have no issue with it. I am shocked that you took Ridley over Metcalf.
uh-huh. I'm a uh, I'm a big fan this year of Ridley. I think he's gonna do amazing things in Jacksonville.
Yeah, and he is a great player. And if he is the guy that we saw back in 2020, I had him back in 2020 when he had that big year, and then Dylan drafted him in 2021 and seemingly ruined his life. Dylan kind of is prone to doing that, right? He ruined
Yeah,
life in 2021. Now, last year, he ruined Jonathan Taylor's life. Who do we think whose life did he ruin this year? Maybe Mahomes?
I think it might be.
Yeah, Mahomes might be going down.
I think Mahomes has been the guy at the top all these years since he's been in the league, and I think Dylan picking him might have just ruined Mahomes' career.
Yeah, and I mean, if he takes out Mahomes, then we're really going to see the full extent of those powers because that would be something pretty damn crazy. So
Yeah, if he takes down Mahomes, I hope he takes down his brother as well.
yeah, I think everybody can get on board with that.
Yeah.
So I've got 4 minutes left on this. I am not going to upgrade. It wants me to upgrade. It is putting everything out there for me to buy the license to extend my time. I'm not doing it. I'm not caving to them.
Yeah, don't cave to them, Jake. Wait, did you do the recap already?
I gave some thoughts. I
Oh,
gave
no.
some thoughts. I didn't go through every team, but I've had two people on. We've talked about the league at large. What give just a takeaway that you had? Was there any team or pick or anything in general that you were shocked by?
Yeah, I think Dave Horvath will definitely come in last again.
Okay,
Uh no, honestly, I think Matt Mecca has a great team. I
you
think he
Krieger
drafted
said the same.
I think he drafted very well. But you never know, you know? I feel like fantasy is a game of luck, and may the luck be on your side, guys, you know?
Yeah, no, you never do know. You can analyze it all you want, but at the end of the day, there are going to be crazy injuries, and there are going to be players we've never even heard of who are going to come out of nowhere to be viable, and
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what makes it fun. If you could predict
I
everything,
will say one thing. Peter did when Travis Kelsey was still on the board.
Mhm,
I thought for sure I was gonna get him, but Peter crushed my hopes and dreams. But
it's a shame.
hey, it's a shame.
Hey, that would have been amazing to get him at 8. I can't believe he made it to 7, but
I
I
agree.
I'm also not surprised that Andrew kind of gutlessly was not he was talking all this hype to me for months about like ever since the draft order came out, he was going to take Kelsey, he's going to do Kelsey, and I kept telling him that I did not think he would, that I was shocked that he was even saying that, and then he proved that he did not have the balls to do it.
Yeah, I think we know that about Andrew
Hmm.
already. That he's not a man of his word, but
He proved
yeah.
it. I mean, it is what it is.
Uh, Lerar, I Lerar has Jonathan Taylor and who
Yeah,
else?
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, yeah. His team is I should have the advantage week one, but
Yeah, no, Krieger and I have already guaranteed you a week 1 win.
yeah, but hopefully by the end of the season, Lorar's back on top. I think with
He
those
has
guys.
he's got to survive the first month, but then yeah, I mean, who knows?
Yeah, who knows, you know?
All right, I've got a minute left, so I'm gonna get rid of you, and I'm
All
gonna
right.
do a quick wrap up, and then this will be out.
All right. Thanks for having me, Jake.
I'm happy to have you on.
All right.
All right, so this was good times here. Getting 3 people on, getting to talk about the league. Obviously, thanks to Zoom being a bastard of a product, wasn't able to go through each team, but I think the league's pretty even. It's been even for the last few years. I don't see too many weaknesses. Yeah, Larar's team is kind of weird right now. He's got to try to put it together. We'll see what happens. Happy to have had another great draft. Looking forward to the season. Good luck to everybody. Somehow I got this done. Goodbye.